Well, we're back for episode 6 of The Last of Us. We've only got 3 to go, and I've got to say, this is probably the strongest episode yet. It's definitely got to be my favourite, I think. At least in terms of how they develop Joel and Ellie's relationship. The acting is still really good. I've got very little complaints when it comes to this show so far. Really, it's going to come down to how they finish out the season, because then we can kind of see what way are they going to go when it comes to season 2, because we still have that to deal with. But we're just going to get straight into it today anyway. But it starts off this is 3 months later on from the previous episode, and Joel and Ellie are trying to find out where they are on the map, because they've been going through the forest and all that sort of stuff. So they're told by this old couple that you don't want to go west of the river. I think they call it the River of Death or something like that. There's loads of bodies that get washed up and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they find out sort of what way they're going. And then you have Joel come out and has I guess a panic attack of some sort. So what really they do during the whole episode is Joel questioning whether he can actually take care of Ellie, because he's now at the point where he cares about her. He's now worried about, am I going to get this girl killed? It's kind of, that's kind of what they do throughout the episode, just for him to just question whether he's up to the task. He's already had her have to save him because deaf in one ear. He's a lot older than he used to be. So that's kind of the main thing that goes through the episode, is they just kind of layer that on as we sort of go. And they do quite a good job. I think that they don't come out and tell you exactly what the issue is, at least not right away. There is subtle hints towards it that's kind of what he's dealing with. But they travel up here. They have a bit of a conversation. Ellie does, because I think one of the good things that they've done in this show is if you kind of well, that doesn't make sense. Generally, they do sort that out the next episode. Usually, there is sort of they come up with a good reason for why something happened the way it did. And in this, she brings up what happened with Sam, where she never told anyone. And I think the main reason she didn't tell anyone was for, Joel would have just killed Sam pretty much on the spot. I think that's mainly why. But she also goes over, why she put her blood on his leg, on the sort of infection. Really it just comes down to sort of childish naivety, where she just, in desperation to not lose anyone else, she just thought, I'll give it a try. See if it works. So they have done a good job, but it was a similar situation with, I think it was episode 4 with Sam and Henry, when they somehow get across the glass without waking Joel up or anything like that, and they do show it in the next episode. So they have been quite good for that. So Joel just tells her, I'm pretty sure it's a lot more complicated than just you wipe your blood on someone. So that's kind of what they talk about there. Before they go to sleep, Joel says, I'll take both watches. But then he accidentally falls asleep, and that's kind of him questioning again, should I be doing this? Am I the one that will be able to help this girl to keep her alive? Even in this scene, he says, I'm responsible for you. You got to wake me up when that happens. So it's just, we're just kind of building up to him having second thoughts about what they're doing. And then, they eventually get to the place that the old couple pointed on the map, that was the River of Death. That's where all these bodies turn up and stuff like that. So that is, of course, all these horses surround them. And even in this, again, they send out a sniffer dog to sniff if the people have infections. I guess a dog would be able to do that, if they know what it smells like. So sniffs at Joel, he's fine, and then it goes up to Ellie, and Joel just kind of freezes. He's just, again, they're just building up to this, I'm not the one to do this. So eventually, he does try and hand her off to Tommy, which we're not far away from getting there. So, like, the woman asks, "Oh, what's your name?" And he says Joel. So that's, she's Maria. So she's Tommy's wife in this. I don't remember if she was pregnant in the game, but she is in this. So they bring them to their town. You have Tommy and Joel have a bit of a reuniting, and then they sit down, have some food, and Ellie points out, like, we were told by this old couple about all the dead bodies. Tommy's just like, bad reputation doesn't necessarily mean bad. And then you have Maria that kind of takes shots at Joel a bit. Like, she's clearly heard about all the stuff him and Tommy had to do, and she's not that trusting of him. She even gets to the point later on of kind of relaying that to Ellie, that it's the ones that we trust that can betray us. I think it was the same line that was in the promo for episode 6. Yeah, the episode we're on. I don't know why I forgot that. But yeah, like, obviously they just sometimes they end up with raiders trying to get in the place, so that's why they don't really piss about with if people were trying to hurt them and stuff like that. So that's why there's all these bodies and shit like that. So they go on a tour. They basically sort of give us a reason for how this place operates, like the reason they haven't been found. When it comes to infected, again, they've been consistent throughout the show that generally, if you're in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to get that many there. They mainly keep to the cities. So they do mention that sometimes you get the odd little amount of them. And the reason people don't find is they stay off the radio and they don't advertise the place, and that's one of the reasons why Tommy never stopped radioing into Joel. So this is kind of the part that I've seen everybody complaining about. Is because they say, "Oh yeah, we're communists." I think I think it comes across a little clunky, but at the same time, I'm not really surprised that there's going to be all different types of settlements pop up. I don't really see it as a deal breaker for the show being good anyway. So but I've seen that kind of going about. I did hear about it before I watched it. Just like it's blown out of proportion a bit, innit? But whatever. That's not really what I'm focused on here. Is so I keep getting it keeps freezing up. So yeah, they say they've got Joel in in a house down the street. The heating ain't that great, but you could do worse. So there's like little subtleties here where Ellie says, "Yeah, we have been doing like worse," and Joel kind of looks a bit pissed off with the fact, and just says, "No, we've been doing all right." He's questioning whether he can look after this girl, and at the same time he's trying to convince himself that we've actually been doing all right. So they have been quite subtle about where they're going with this. But then we have a conversation between Joel and Tommy, and again a lot of this stuff is just coming through, and some of it does Tommy kind of parallels with what Joel is currently dealing with. Because Tommy's, Maria's pregnant, so Tommy's like, soon I'm going to be a dad, so I've got to be more careful. I'm quite scared about this, and it's the similar thing that Joel's going through as well. But they just kind of have an argument similar to the game, really. Joel's just like, I know you still judge me about all the things we did. Tommy's like, no, I don't judge you for that. There were other ways, but we just did what we knew how to do. And then Joel eventually storms out after Tommy tells him, just because life stopped for you doesn't mean it has to stop for me. And Joel kind of storms out and has another panic attack, and then sees someone that looks like his daughter Sarah. So they're just kind of building up that sort of having second thoughts, towards the end of the episode. So you have Ellie that goes over to Maria's and gets a haircut. She notices these names on the, it's like a little memorial that Tommy put up for Kevin, which is Maria's son, and of course Sarah. So that leads into Ellie finding out about that Joel had a daughter, because Maria brings it up, not realizing that Joel didn't tell you about her, and you kind of get the stuff where Maria just says, because she doesn't trust Joel because of the stuff she's heard about him. She just says, only the ones we trust can betray us. I suppose that does happen within this episode, as we soon enough get to it. But now we're at the second conversation with Tommy and Joel, and this is where Joel wants Tommy to he tells Tommy, oh, she's immune. I want you to take her the rest of the way to the Fireflies. Because I'm not up to the task. She had to, a 14-year-old had to, kill someone to save me because I didn't hear the guy coming in because, I'm deaf in one ear. So that's kind of what has just been going on throughout the episode. Is he doesn't think he's up to the task, and because he cares so much about Ellie now, he's not willing to sort of rest it on himself when he doesn't really think he can do it. So, and then Ellie, I guess, overhears. I'd rather find out that information a bit better than that, to be honest. But it's not a big issue. It's just a general thing that usually happens in most media. Is you just have someone overhear a conversation, where I think there's a better way to do that. But again, it's not that big an issue. So Joel just pleads him to take her, and Tommy agrees to do it. So yeah, when he goes, so we get the conversation that the exact same word for word that was in the game. So it's just Ellie saying, if you're going to ditch me, just ditch me and get it over with. And they just kind of have, again, I still think, you still got people out there saying that Bella Ramsey's a shit actor. I'm like, she's doing pretty good in this show so far. Again, not the best of actresses, but she is doing a good job for anything the sort of whatever calls for a good performance. She's definitely brought it to there. But yeah, Joel just tells her, you'd be better off with Tommy. He's going to be able to, he'll be a lot better for you than me. And she's just like, that's not going to, what does she say? Yeah, Joel says something like, you don't know what loss is, because it's like she brings up his daughter and all that. And Ellie says, everyone I cared for has either died or left me except for you. Don't tell me I would be safer. I would be more scared. So that's kind of the conversation. It's, it's pretty much, it is word for word. It's the same exact scene as, as in the game. So Joel kind of, before he goes to bed, thinks about Sarah. And then when he wakes up, he's decided, well, he gives Ellie the choice, if she'd rather come with him or go with Tommy, and she goes with him. But yeah, I think they've done a good job with, especially with the sort of, just sort of I don't really know what the heartfelt, the sort of emotional, like, beats. So they set off, and this episode is going to end exactly as I predicted. So they just go through hunting, and then I think it takes them about 5 days to get to the university. And when they get there, it's monkeys and all that. The Fireflies have cleared out. So they do see because there is like a map that is a possibility of where the Fireflies went off to. And then, yeah, because there's people that come into the university complex, and then a guy comes up to Joel and stabs him. He snaps his neck as well. But that's kind of where we're ending. Is Joel falls off the horse, and Ellie's like, what am I gonna fucking do now? I don't know what to do. So that's where we finish off on this episode. I think I'm getting pretty good at predicting where these episodes are going to end. But the next episode is, well, that'll be. I did watch a promo for it. That's the DLC. Riley and Ellie. That's what they're doing in that episode. I'm kind of hoping that they just mix it in with, because we've still got to get to certain things I won't spoil, but we still got one more thing to do once we're kind of done with this section of of the story. So it's just going to be, I imagine the group of people that we're probably going to be in episode 8, and then episode 9 will be that's probably my guess. But yeah, I'm glad, because I did think that episode 3 would have, maybe they would have ended up rushing this series, but no, they seem to be doing a good job ending it in the right places. But yeah, that's again I still think it's the strongest episode we've had so far. Very, very little complaints about it. Again, the acting's still really good. Really, no issues. Again, I'm going through these episodes twice, so I'm not missing anything. I'm not missing, the subtleties and all that kind of stuff. But it's been a pretty good show so far. What more can I say? But we got this done in record time. I'm trying to make these ones a bit shorter. There's only so long you can just explain everything that fucking happens. That's why generally I'm just gonna stick to, right, I've got something to say about this. That's what I'll do. Keep it a bit shorter, But yeah, it's again, good episode. No complaints. There's still people that aren't happy with this show. I'm not seeing good criticisms of this show. Really, it seems to be just coming down that some people don't like it. That's really all it is. But I can't really, it's not a bad show. Pretty good so far. So all you can hope for is a good season. Season 2, I'm not really worried about. I'm quite happy to get one good season. If they adapt the second game pretty faithfully, it's not going to be a good season from what they've already done with this first season. But we will have to wait and see. But again, so far so good.